Oh yeah. Five-star. LSU. I said they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU.
What's up? Happy Thanksgiving back here in the Tigers Avenue, episode number 6. Hey, we just want to let you know here on Thanksgiving how thankful we are for your support of this podcast. We really enjoy doing this. We love talking about LSU sports. Obviously, it's a blast. So we appreciate all your support since the beginning. This has really been a blessing and a whole lot of fun. Zach, do you have any thoughts?
I'm excited to be here together
For the first time
ever. Our whole point of this podcast was to try and create a living room setting,
Right.
Conversation with each other. And we haven't really had that with you being in Jonesboro, me being here.
Mm-hmm.
But for Thanksgiving, we're together, so we're able to do this here
Absolutely.
in the Tigers Avenue.
Absolutely. Here for some family time and Thanksgiving meals. I don't know about y'all, but I've ate way too much as normal, and I'm full as a tick. But we got some stuff to talk about. Let's get right into it. LSU basketball this weekend is playing in the Emerald Coast Classic. They got 4 teams in it that we're going to be participating with. We got, of course, the Tigers, Penn State, Oregon State, and Wake Forest. Oregon State, Wake Forest will play each other tomorrow after the Penn State LSU game. The winners of those games will play each other for the championship. The loser of those games will play for, I guess, consolation, you could very much say. Pretty heavy favored. The Penn State is 3-1 on the season with a loss to UMass. Give me your thoughts on what you think this game, how this game may go.
So I know me and you have talked a little bit about this before the show, and we kind of disagree a little bit on how we think this game is going to go. I want to give you my reasoning. So for you listeners, I don't know why, but in my gut, I believe this game is going to be probably the closest game that the Tigers have played all season. I know Liberty and Belmont were those big games that were predicted to be a lot more closer than they actually were.
Yeah.
As we saw, the Tigers just blew them out of the water and amazed us. But something in my gut's telling me this is going to be a closer game. And the reason that I am saying that is not because of the talent of Penn State. I specifically believe that because of this being the very first game away from the PMAC. It's a neutral site. They're in Florida. And it's just going to be a different setting.
I mean, it definitely could be. There's no doubt about that.
I think the Tigers are going to win. I'm just saying. I think they're going to cover the point spread.
Yeah.
But I think we've gotten used to this 30-point win, 40-point win, just beating the brakes off of them. Yeah. And I'm thinking this is going to be like a 10 to 15-point win.
Right. And speaking of the spread is 9.5, and I'm really buying into it, man. I know, like you said, you think it's going to be close. I just don't see it. I mean, you look at Penn State's record; they're 3-1, right? And you're thinking, okay, they got 1 loss. Well, you go and look at the schedule, and their losses to UMass, and their 3 wins are against Youngstown State, St. Francis Brooklyn, and Cornell. And then they're going to step up to LSU.
Cornell Ivy League?
Yes. So I'm like, and they haven't beaten any of them like in a massive way. UMass kicked their tail. It was 81-56.
Oof.
And if I were to be a betting man, I would bet that point spread, no doubt. So I think they are going to win big. And another reason I think they're going to win big is Will Wade put an emphasis on this in his post-game press conference the other day after the win against Belmont. He said, we've been horrendous in these early season tournaments. And he said, we've got to do better at this. And he said, we got to go prove ourselves in these early season tournaments. And so I think he really wants to make a statement in this tournament because, he's right. I don't remember. I don't think the entire time Will Wade has been here, we've won one of these tournaments. I mean, we had a chance against Florida State that one time, but we blew it in overtime. So we haven't won one yet with Will Wade, and I think he wants to capitalize on this. And the way the Tigers have been playing and what I'm looking at with Penn State, I think it's going to be a massive win again, and I think Tigers hold them under 60 points.
I mean, if it's going to be a team to do it, it's going to be this team, right? So you got to believe he's going to have them ready. They've already exceeded expectations this season, especially. Obviously, I know we've talked about it a lot, but after the Adam Miller injury, they've already exceeded the expectations just from that.
Yeah.
This seems like this is what you were going to see with Adam Miller on the court.
Yeah, right.
But we're seeing
it without him.
Without him, and so it's just really impressive to see these young guys and these transfers really pick up. Where we thought all the scoring was going to come from, and they've picked up the slack on that end.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how the Tigers play outside of the PMAC. I am, and I think that is going to play a factor in it. You may see a slow start, to the game, but I think once the Tigers get in the roll of things and get the groove on, it's going to be pretty. It's going to be a runaway type of game.
Can't stop the train from running down the track.
Yeah, you can't stop the freight train rolling. Going back on a little bit from last week, I didn't mention this, and I meant to. Belmont last year lost 4 games. Belmont was 26-4 last year, and
that was, I don't know if you knew this, but that Belmont team that we played this year is a veteran. It's juniors and seniors.
Oh yeah.
And then we're playing with freshmen
and transfer
sophomores.
I mean, really the only veteran guy on our team is
DD.
Is DD. I mean, you got Eric Gaines coming off the bench and Mwani starting,
still sophomores.
But last year was their first year, right? Yeah. So, man, it's going to be. I'm just excited about this team. There's a whole lot to like about it. Let's talk about Penn State's players a little bit here. I'm looking at their best scorer is their guard, Sam Sessoms. Really the only guy I see here that's going to be a problem, maybe offensively. Seth Lundy, their forward, averages 17 a game, and then after that it's a large drop-off. And it looks like once you get past their starting 5, there's even more of a drop-off, and that's advantage Tigers, right? Mm-hmm. Because we've talked about it several times. The depth is there for the Tigers. Terry Eason, Eric Gaines. And, we haven't talked about it a lot. And I don't even know if we've mentioned it at all. But Sharif O'Neal and Justice Williams have not even dressed yet.
Nope.
They have not even dressed yet.
They have not been on the court at all.
The LSU Tigers, with the way they are playing, are not even at full strength. If you add Adam Miller, if you add Sharif O'Neal, and if you add Justice Williams, holy smokes. I mean, you're looking at a 11-man rotation almost. I mean, that's you add 3 more guys and you already got 2 coming off the bench. That's 10. That's almost 10.
Yeah, you're getting close to three teams.
Yeah, it's impressive. Teams. I mean, and I know Will Wade had made mention to Justice Williams that he had started practicing again. Justice Williams was one of the top shooting guards in the nation, and if I remember correctly, he was 13 in the overall rankings.
He's the one that reclassified, right?
Yes, he was in the class of 2023, reclassified to the class of 2022,
yeah,
and reclassified to 21 and signed with this class and is on the team. He's just been battling a slight injury and hasn't dressed yet, but it sounds like he's close to it. And he's probably going to be an immediate, contributor off the bench. And then, once you add Sharif, Sharif has been with the team 2 years now.
Yeah.
2 years
This
now?
is his second year.
Second year with
Unless
the team?
he had to wait to transfer.
I'm not sure. But
unless he had to wait to play to
I'm pretty sure it's his second year with the team. Last year was his first year with the team.
Yeah.
And it's
definitely the first year that we saw him on the court.
So you add another person like Eric Gaines and Mwani Wilkinson to the team. And we all know that Sharif has length and height and can add more depth to the forward, 3-4 position.
He's a rebounding machine, defensive threat.
Yes. He's not much of an offensive threat, but
No.
definitely going to help us on the defensive side. And I mean,
Offensive boards.
and offensive boards. And Will Wade hones in on that a lot. A lot of people criticized Will Wade, has criticized him in the past years about his defense. And he said, I think it's not much of our – he was alluding that it's not much of our defense. He said we were making people miss shots. We just couldn't rebound. So they were getting second chance shots. And he said, one of the major differences this year as well is we've been rebounding a whole lot better. So if you add Sharif to that as well, it just gets even better. But I expect the Tigers to win big, and that's my prediction. That's tomorrow night. Friday night. Let me say that specifically. Friday night at 6 p.m. tip.
Which when this podcast is released be tonight.
It will be
technically.
Yes. So
tomorrow night for us right now. Tonight for you listeners.
Right. I predict they win big and they hold Penn State under 60 points.
How much do the Tigers score?
How much do the Tigers score? I'm going to say in the range of 75 to 80.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same.
75 to 80. And I would say like 80 to 85, but like you said, with the change in scenery, first time being away from the PMAC, I expect maybe a little bit slower start. Maybe not as much, offense as we've been seeing. So maybe 75 to 80.
58-74.
58-74. I like that score. If that's what it is, I would be pumped.
We keep them under the 60 mark, and we kind of hit around that area of where I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit more closer than it's been with the last 5 opponents.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've, I think, covered just about everything with the basketball. Maybe one more thing. Do you think Darius Days gets back to it tomorrow? I know he had 9 points.
I think a lot of that, though, was mostly just because Tari was popping off. We said it in the last podcast, so there's no really need to just rehash it. But a lot of the guys, the other starters, which Tari's not a starter, but I mean you can basically count him as a starter. Tari had a big night. Efton had a pretty good night, even though it was a really quiet night for him. He still had a big night. X had a big night. Brandon Murray had a big night. So I think that was more so just the other guys getting hot than Darius not having a great night.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It's exciting, and I think the train keeps rolling tomorrow. And I'm going to go ahead and make the prediction that LSU wins this tournament and getting the first early season tournament win for Will Wade.
Well, they play on Saturday.
LSU.
They'll play Saturday.
They'll play Friday
if they win. Win or lose.
Win or lose, they'll play Friday. They'll play the winner or loser on Saturday of Wake Forest, Oregon State. All right, I think that pretty much covers the basketball game preview. We'll move to the LSU Texas A&M game for Saturday. Zach, I know we've kind of been down a little bit on football. I think understandably so. I mean, considering all things offensively, it's been really blah. But
reason to be.
Yeah, but I want this to end on a high note. I want this season to go out on a high note. LSU obviously is not favored in this game. A&M is favored to win by about 61% to 38%. And A&M has a 6.5 point spread on the game, which is not as much as I thought it may have been. I think people
started at 7.5.
So it's come down.
It's come down. Now, I think it went down as far as 6 a couple of days ago, and it's come up just a bit. So the odds makers, the bettors, they're kind of laying money on LSU right now.
Yeah.
And obviously the football power index is not. I mean, they're heavy favorites for A&M. But yeah, the bettors, they're laying some money on LSU right now, and it might be just because it's Edo's last game. There's going to be a lot of hype, a lot of emotion for the guys, the players coming into this game.
There's been some statements made this week by the Tigers that, based on the season we've had, you're kind of like, at first you're kind of like, like, you better be careful what you say. But then you step back and you're like, you know what? Why not? Why not have confidence going into the game? Get ready for this game and try to go out with a bang.
Oh, you must be talking about the Damone Clark statement.
Said, yeah. Damone Clark.
Oh, we're beating them.
He said, we're beating them. And I'm like, take it easy, Damone. But like, I get it. Like, this man's up for he's a finalist for the Buckus.
I mean, he kind of has room to talk.
Right. He's a finalist for the Buckus.
Other guys, maybe not so much.
He leads the entire nation in tackles. Like, he's going to be a maybe potentially a round 1 draft pick.
Should be at this point.
So he's got a lot of, he's playing for. Like, I feel like he's got a lot of pride.
His last game of his college football career.
And Damone Clark was recruited by Ed Orgeron, so I think he wants to play hard for Ed and his potentially final game at LSU. Another big thing is Ty Davis Price has the chance to have 1,000 rush yard season if he gets 81 yards in this game.
And that's wild based on
considering how it started, and it felt like we couldn't even touch 50 yards rushing for the first 4 or 5 games.
Till Kentucky.
Until Kentucky, it was completely non-existent. And now he's 81 yards away from 1,000-yard season, which is just crazy. But, you'd love to see him get that and finish out the year strong as well. Another thing is Coach O, after the ULM game, as boring and as sluggish as that game was, it was said that he came to the locker room and took his shirt off and got all hype and excited and went all Ed Orgeron on the locker room. And, it was like, let's get pumped for this game coming up. So it seems like there's some excitement building, and they want to finish the season on an exclamation point. The other thing is you're playing for a bowl berth, right? You're 5-6. LSU is staring its first losing season in the face. And how long has it been? 21 years?
99.
So 21 years? You're staring at your first losing season in 21 years in the face. And you just got to think, Ed Orgeron, with the pride he has for Louisiana, I mean, he's going out. These players like Damone Clark, they want to finish the season strong. And you got to think they want to play in a bowl game. Now, Zach, I don't know about you, and I've actually talked about this with some of my college friends. To me, I could care less about bowl games. I do not care about making a bowl game. For me,
unless they come to the Liberty Bowl.
I mean, they come to the. I'm not talking about this season. I'm talking about bowl games. Period. Like, I don't care about them.
Oh, they don't any of the games.
They don't mean anything.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, they don't mean anything because now I can get it for little teams like
green in your pocket,
right? Little green in your pocket. You go play a team you may not play before, and you get to claim you're the champion of the Music City Bowl, like whip-de-doo. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're the Alamo Texas Bowl champions.
Yeah, go out on a high note.
You know what I mean? Like, to me, it just doesn't matter. And I can get it for programs like Arkansas State, like Liberty. Teams like that. That's your ceiling, right?
Yeah.
Like a bowl game is your ceiling, and I can get that. But for LSU, a bowl game don't mean nothing.
So would you say it's, for a program like LSU, it's playoffs, New Year's Six or bust?
It's New Year's Six or playoffs, yes.
Yeah.
Like, you go to the playoffs or play in New Year's Six, or it almost means nothing. And it almost means nothing for the New Year's Six. You're not playing for a championship. You know what I mean? Like, just for me, with being the program that LSU is, and teams like A&M and like Clemson and Georgia, those high tier programs, why does a bowl game matter? Like, you should be competing for a championship. It's literally a consolation. Like, oh, you won 8 games, so you can get in this tier of bowl games. Oh, well, you won 10 games, but you lost 2, so you're not quite good enough to get in the playoffs, but we'll put you in a New Year's Six bowl. It's a consolation bowl. I mean, that's all it is. So to me, I don't care about bowl games, but maybe in this season where you haven't had much to cheer for, your coach is fired, you don't want to have your first losing season, in 21 years. You want to keep that streak alive.
Mm-hmm.
So as a fan of the Tigers, I want the bowl game. I will say this year, I want the bowl game. And I think my sourness towards bowl games came in the Les Miles era because we would be so highly ranked. We'd be top 3 in the nation, undefeated. Then we'd go play Bama and choke and then wind up in a bowl game.
Yeah.
Year after year after year. And that's where I feel like my sourness maybe towards bowl games comes from. And I feel like there's some truth to the fact that it's just a consolation. But for this year, you want the bowl game so you can finish with a winning season, potentially a winning season, so you can keep that streak alive and, go out on this season on a high note. Because why not? We're fans. You should support the team, show love for the team. You want them to win, right? Like you don't want them to go in there and lay down and die to the Aggies. But
especially for the seniors, the guys that have been in the program a long time. I mean, we mentioned
Austin
like
Deculus,
Neil Farrell, Glenn Logan, at Ingram, potentially, guys leaving like TDP and potentially, Cordell Flott,
You want them to have their last game.
Cam Lewis, Todd Harris, those guys.
Yeah. You want their last game in Death Valley to, be a memorable one.
Memorable experience.
A good memory to go out on. So, of course we're pulling for them. All that to say, what's your prediction on the game? What do you think is going to happen?
My heart wants to pick the Tigers. It really does, based on all the things we just said. And I can see it happening. I would not be surprised if LSU pulls out this game. My heart wants to pick them, but my gut and probably just from getting burnt a lot this season, I expected them to beat Kentucky. I expected them to beat Auburn. I expected them to beat Arkansas. And we know how I expected them to beat UCLA.
Yeah.
And we know how all those games went. Yeah. At the beginning of the season, I know we weren't having this podcast, but I predicted we were going to lose 2 games, and it was going to be to Bama and Ole Miss. And we lost those games. I did not expect us to lose the other 4 games that we have.
Yeah.
And I predicted us to be at A&M. But, in my opinion, I think because of how I've been burnt this season, I just don't think I can pick them. And the main reason for that, the main reason that I'm going with A&M is because we can't score.
Yeah.
We cannot score. We've mentioned it. We've talked in frustration so much about it, and we don't have to do that on this podcast again. But LSU's not going to score 30 points this game.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if we hit 27.
Yeah.
This game. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I think LSU's defense is going to continue to play great and hold them in their scoring low. A&M also just doesn't score a lot of points.
No, they don't.
On the season, they're averaging around close to 30 points a game.
Yeah.
But ever since Calzada took over, you take away the Bama game and then their scrub game, cupcake game.
All right.
I think they played last week. They haven't scored a lot of points.
Yeah.
They really haven't. They've been winning their games in low-scoring affairs. And so I think that this is going to be a low-scoring game, and LSU is going to lose a nail-biter, another heartbreaker, and I'm going to hate to watch it if it happens that way. Again, my heart wants to say, based on everything we just talked about, pick the Tigers. But I'm going to go with my gut here and say that A&M wins this game probably 24-21, something like that. 27-24, maybe.
Yeah.
I just can't pick them. I hate to say that. It breaks my heart to say that, but I just can't. I'm more so looking forward to the next season, the next regime, all that stuff. Yeah.
So I'm going to pick A&M too, but I want to lay this out for you, okay? Because this is actually pretty interesting. Calzada, Max Johnson. Max Johnson has almost 600 more yards passing than Calzada. He has 10 more touchdowns than Calzada on the season and 3 less interceptions.
And if you were to ask, hey, A&M, what do you think about Calzada? They'd be like, well, he started off pretty rough, but we like him now. He's like, pretty good. I mean, obviously with Bama, that's probably the basis for that. And then you ask LSU fans, what do you think about Max Johnson? Well, he may not even be the starter next year. Maybe he holds the ball too long. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Like if we get Lincoln Riley, let's hope Caleb Williams comes with him.
Right.
Walker Howard may take the job next year. So but I don't know.
I will say, Calzada played, a few less games than him.
Yeah,
but Max Johnson's outperformed him by 10 touchdowns, and 3 less interceptions.
Has he played? I mean, Max Johnson didn't play in the Arkansas game. And I think Calzada came in the second game of the season.
So, I mean,
it's the same, basically.
About the same. So he's outperformed Calzada.
Period.
And then you're like, okay, well, Isaiah Spiller's obviously their offensive threat. Well, Isaiah Spiller's considered, one of the best backs in the SEC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he only has 80 yards,
close to that,
70-something yards more than Ty Davis-Price, and has the same amount of touchdowns. 65 more yards and 6. They both have 6 touchdowns. So that's dead even. You got Max Johnson, who's outperformed Calzada. You're pretty much dead even with Isaiah Spiller and Ty Davis-Price. And then you look at the leading receiver.
Kayshon Boutte's been at the top the entire season.
Kayshon Boutte is still our leading receiver, and he has not played since Kentucky. He has 509 yards on the season and 9 touchdowns. Guess who their leading receiver is? Weidemeyer, their tight end, who has played the entire season, and he still has less receiving yards and touchdowns than Kayshon Boutte does, and he ain't played since Kentucky.
Kayshon, if you ever watch this, please do not leave.
Please do not leave.
Please. I know we lost.
Don't transfer.
I know we lost a 5-star this past week. Kayshon, please. We need
Goodness.
Hold on.
Please stay. You are incredible, and you will do incredible with whoever comes next.
You'll go first round. You're still going to go first round. Doesn't matter.
So he hasn't played since Kentucky, and he still has more yards than their leading receiver and has 5 more touchdowns than their leading receiver. Yeah. So all that to say, like you said, this is not going to be an offensive battle. It's not. And as you can see, LSU could potentially have the advantage when it comes to offense. Now, I think Texas A&M is better schemed offensively. But like I said, statistically, it leans LSU a little bit. So where does LSU lose this game? Right? That's the question. And it's defense. As well as our defense has played, right? I'm not saying our defense is going to struggle, but compared to A&M's defense, man, A&M's defense is elite. It's elite. It's one of the top defenses in the country. And when you talk about how the past few weeks our offense has been so dry, so stale, it ain't going to be able to do nothing against this A&M defense. And I think that with our depleted defense, as injured as it's been, and it still is, right? I think that their offense will just overpower our depleted defense a little bit more than our pathetic offense will their, extremely talented elite defense. And so I'm predicting that A&M wins 28-17. 28-17 will be my prediction for the game. I hate to say that. I hate to think that we're going to be 5-7 losing season. But the good thing is we're about to see a change. All of this crud is a result of the coaching staff that is there, the head coach that is there, who doesn't understand how to hire coordinators,
roster management, public relations. I mean, the only thing he knows how to do is hype his team up when he takes his shirt off. And goes to the middle of the field in Tuscaloosa, and
this is our house.
Makes promises. That he can't uphold. He's a hype man. That's really all he is. He's a hype man, and he knows defensive line, and he can recruit because he is a hype man.
Right,
and that's why.
And he's been chasing the Joe Brady ghost.
A coach.
He's been chasing the Joe Brady ghost for too long. And it's cost him. It's, in fact, cost him his job.
He ain't been chasing the Joe Brady ghost. He been chasing the Joe Brady ghost. He been chasing the 2019 football team period ghost. Yeah. Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, we have those guys. I mean, Kayshon Boutte.
You don't have Joe Burrow, but you got Kayshon Boutte.
You got Max Johnson,
that's a round one pick.
Max Johnson has better play than all the other quarterbacks we had under Les Miles.
Yeah, for sure. We complain about Max Johnson's play, but
Joe Burrow, they said it back in 2019, and it has become so true. They said it over and over again. Joe Burrow is going to spoil us. It's going to become quarterback at LSU is going to become this huge high expectation now because of Joe Burrow and the season he had. And now we are scoffing at the point that Max Johnson has 2,000 yards.
24 touchdowns.
And shoot, if we had that back
with Les Miles,
when we had Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, we would have won an Natty.
We'd be going nuts. If we had Max Johnson in 2011, we'd be Bama.
Yeah, we'd be Bama. Yeah, we beat Bama. We don't lose 8 years straight if we have Max Johnson any of those years.
Yeah. So, we're probably going to lose this game. It is what it is, but we got something to look forward to very soon, and we've talked about it pretty extensively the last 2 episodes, so we want to wrap up the episode here with briefly highlighting the coaching search, because it seems like I've been saying these last few episodes, it's coming down to the end, folks. It really
4 days away, possibly.
Potentially. Next episode, we may be talking about the new coach, right?
Very, very possible.
You can erase Billy Napier. It's a done deal.
He's going to Florida. It's just not signed yet.
Now, he would take the LSU job over Florida like that in a heartbeat. But he ain't the man that LSU wants. And I don't blame him.
If Riley loses on Saturday and then loses the next Saturday and Napier signed.
You saying if they win Saturday and then lose in the Big 12 championship?
Yeah, I'm sorry. If they win on Saturday and, win the next Saturday, is Napier going to sign with Florida before then?
No. Florida's not going to announce until after the Sun Belt Championship.
So then all this Mark Stoops talk maybe too much, because if you get past Lincoln, then, and as you said, Napier's going to take that job.
Yeah.
I have to believe that they would offer Napier the job over Mark Stoops.
Now, here's the thinking, okay? Put this into perspective. You pay money to get rid of Joe Oliva. You pay money to get Scott Woodward here. You pay $26 million to say goodbye to this staff. Do you think those people spending that money want to hire ULL's coach?
I agree, but I also feel like Mark Stoops is kind of – I know it's Kentucky, but I feel like he's in that boat.
But Mark Stoops is the fall guy. That's what I'm saying here. You don't settle, right? You don't settle. And I'm here to tell you, they're going to offer Lincoln Riley a fat contract. Like I've said, $100 million 8 years. They are about to make Lincoln Riley the highest paid college football coach in the entire nation.
Ever.
Number one. Number two, they are going to make him the second highest paid coach, period. NFL and college. The only person that'll be making more money than Lincoln Riley at LSU is Belichick.
Yep.
Now, you tell me if he's going to say no to that. You're telling me Lincoln Riley is going to say no to being the second highest paid coach in college and NFL combined and the highest paid
in
college
history.
Football coach in history? You telling me he's going to say no to that? No.
You're dumb. You're dumb.
You are
offered
drinking the Kool-Aid if you think he's going to say no to that. And here's the other thing. The rumors around Oklahoma is that the money people there in Oklahoma are not going to match it.
We can't pay this.
They're not going to match it, and their
pockets aren't as deep.
Their pockets aren't as deep in Norman. No, their pockets aren't as deep in Norman. And the thought is, in which it may make Lincoln want to leave even more. The thought is, we don't have to spend that kind of money because we don't need Lincoln. If you think about it, why in the world would Lincoln Riley stay at Oklahoma, who ain't SEC ready, when you have LSU, who is already in the SEC ready, born and bred SEC, and they're offering you to be the second highest paid coach in the nation? They're offering you to be the highest paid college football coach in history. You're telling me you think he says no to that?
No.
The answer is no. The key to this thing is the next two games. Now, if he loses Saturday, I think they're announcing Lincoln Monday, maybe Sunday. If they lose Saturday, I think within 48 hours.
At the most, 72, I would think. At the most.
I think they're bringing Lincoln Riley to the podium.
You heard it here. OK State wins Saturday. Lincoln Riley will be
Our
LSU's football head coach.
Our prediction is he'll be.
We've been talking about it in the last 3 episodes.
Yes, we've been alluding to this a little bit, and I want to say right here, right now, the episode before this happens, before this goes down, if Oklahoma loses, we're going to be announcing Lincoln Riley as coach
next week,
and you better believe
if it ain't on the next podcast, it's for sure on the next.
Oh no doubt about it. So let's talk situational here. And I know you've kind of, you don't like the Mark Stoops, right? So say like Lincoln Riley, which I think it's kind of improbable to win the next 2 games, in my opinion. Oklahoma State is favored. They have to play in Stillwater. I mean, I just think that Oklahoma, all biases aside, from wanting Lincoln Riley, I think if you're just looking at the game, I think Oklahoma's going to lose.
Do you think the Lincoln Riley talk and all the smoke around that could, potentially affect the game and
could
the team and players, Lincoln, the coaches?
It surely could. But I just think Oklahoma's going to lose the football game. Aside from me wanting Lincoln, and like I said, we said if he loses, I think we're announcing him as coach. The issue is, say he wins Saturday. Say he goes to the Big 12, play Oklahoma State again. So if they win Saturday, it's a rematch in the Big 12 championship. And if he wins both games, one-loss Oklahoma Big 12 champion is probably in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now
they are in the playoffs.
They are in the playoffs. The only way I wouldn't foresee them being in the playoffs is one-loss Georgia, one-loss Bama, one-loss Ohio State, and undefeated Cincinnati.
I think they put Oklahoma in over Cincinnati.
You think so?
Yeah.
And they probably would.
They've already shown.
They probably would.
They've already shown that they are not going to put Cincinnati over a Power 5 conference.
They got them in right now.
But that's because of Oregon.
Right.
Losing their second game.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why.
Yeah. So if he wins the next 2 games, most likely he's in the playoffs, and all bets are off at that point, right? Regardless of the fat contract, all bets are off. You go coach and try to win a national championship.
Be something though if he took the job after
That'd
going to
be-
the playoffs.
That'd be unheard of, right?
I don't know, with this track record and always losing in the semifinal, you never know.
But situationally, if that happens, it sounds like Mark Stoops will be the fall guy. And if LSU fans are going to shake their head at that, right? And I have the same feeling, like, you feel like you strike out with Lincoln, it's just you're settling, right? I mean you are, right? You're settling for who's going to absolutely take the job, right? Like Mark Stoops will absolutely take the job. That's kind of your bottom floor. Now, I really, really would like for them, if he were to run that table, like I said, Florida ain't announcing Napier till after the Sun Belt Championship. So I really would love for them to sweep in and take that, because Napier would take the job if offered by LSU. I really wish they would do that, but it sounds like Woodward ain't considering it.
I know. I trust Woodward.
I trust Woodward, and it sounds like he really likes Stoops. And you know what? I mean, if you in my gut, you're just like, Mark Stoops, Kentucky, like, really?
Why? Why we hired a basketball school's head coach?
But, I mean, look at what they've done this year, Zach. They've been impressive this year. And they sure as heck beat the dog out of us.
They did.
I mean, they torched us. You can't recruit quarterbacks to Kentucky.
Mark Stoops made Ed George on his baby.
Kentucky cannot recruit anywhere near the level a team like LSU could. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they never have quarterbacks.
Never have quarterbacks. Like, they are recruiting like 3-star. 4-star is their like
max,
right? And so they're mostly, like, for LSU, a max is 5-star, and you may get 1 or 2 5-stars a season, like a recruiting season. For them, their max is 4-star. LSU mostly gets 4 stars and a few 5-stars. So if they're only getting a few 4-stars, they're mostly getting 3 stars.
Yeah.
And what they're working with is 3-star, 4-star recruits, very few 4-star recruits, and JUCOs. And what Mark Stoops has done at Kentucky, winning consistently, and especially this year, has been impressive with 3-star JUCO-type talent players in the SEC. In the SEC. So, and I think he's a hard-working coach. I mean, just a blue-collar guy, you know what I mean? He cares, he's passionate, he loves his players, and obviously he can develop like crazy. If you're developing...
Which has not been the case with Ed Orgeron.
Not been the case at LSU recently. If you can take the program of developing 3-star recruits into a 10-win season at Kentucky, haven't they won? They're about to win 10, right? If they win their bowl game or something like that.
They're close to it. If not, I mean, even
fact
9
check me
is
on
like,
that.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, 9. Fact check me on that. But if you can get 3-star JUCO type talent to play at that level in the SEC and take that development program and put it into LSU. You know what I mean? Like, with 4-star, 5-star, the type of talent that LSU is bringing in, maybe it doesn't sound too bad. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what we've been talking about a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like, the last 3 coaches have won.
They're at 8 wins.
They're 8 wins. So they have the potential.
They got Louisville, win. They win the bowl game. That's 10.
That's 10. They're looking at a 10-win season potentially. And that's incredible in the SEC to finish the season with a bowl game, 10 wins with a Kentucky team.
Yeah.
So if you take that development program, put it into LSU, and you've seen what LSU has done with Ed Orgeron and with Les Miles. Les Miles won a championship and played for another one.
And I don't think ever had a season where he won less than 7 games. Or 8. No, it was 8.
So
Because in 2008 they went 8-5 after they won the bowl game.
we have talked about this. Like, if you put a competent coach into LSU, there's no telling what you could accomplish. And you saw that with Nick Saban. Nick Saban was a competent coach. And people will say, oh, that's Nick Saban, whatever. No, that was Nick Saban when we hired him from Michigan State.
Before he was
That
Nick
was
Saban.
his first national championship in all of college football. So that was before he was the Nick Saban as you know him now. And so you get first national title, Nick Saban. You get Les Miles, who won a championship and played for another. Then you have Ed Orgeron, who put together arguably the greatest team in the history of college football at LSU. So you take that, and then you take Mark Stoops, who's had a success and development at a low-tier type of recruiting school, and plug that into five-star, four-star LSU type of playing.
Have you not seen the same thing with Billy Napier, though?
You can say the same thing with Billy Napier, right? That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That's what I'm saying.
I know you're huffing at Mark Stoops, but like, how can you go wrong?
So I guess I see your point. Then I guess you're saying like
I don't think you can go wrong
because you see the same thing with Napier. It's going to be make a lot more sense for LSU to go after a Power 5 coach.
It's a Power 5 coach,
an SEC coach,
yes,
over someone like Billy Napier. When you have Mark Stoops, who's basically the Billy Napier, but at a
bigger
higher
school.
Tier.
Yeah, like Billy Napier has had 10-win seasons, and that's impressive at ULL. It's absolutely impressive at a Group of 5 Sunbelt ULL school. Well, Mark Stoops is at Kentucky Power 5 and has taken this completely irrelevant program and made them into a really decent football team. I mean, they beat Florida. They beat the dog out of LSU. And at one point in time, we're top 10 in the nation. I mean, going into the Georgia game, Georgia and Kentucky were the only undefeated teams in the SEC.
They handled the success a lot better than Arkansas did.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, if Lincoln doesn't work out, which I think it's going to work out, in my opinion, it's going to work out, and it will be a big, splashy hire. If you fall back to Mark Stoops, you say, okay, we didn't get the, oh my gosh, we just hired Lincoln Riley type of feeling.
Yeah.
But it's still Mark Stoops. And it's been a consistent winning, consistent developing, competent coach who has success at Kentucky, and you plug that into LSU.
And I will say, like, Mark seems like he's just this genuine, like, really just...
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we've talked a lot about, clean hire. He's like definition of clean hire.
Clean.
One of those guys that seems like he just knows how to run the program, and you would just love to be around.
And another thing is people say he can recruit his tail off because of his personality. Like, people fall in love with him.
Genuine.
People fall in love with him.
You don't even have to know him. I mean, just watching him as a normal fan, he just seems like he's just this nice, awesome, easygoing, genuine head coach.
So, I know we said to be brief, but we are getting this coaching stuff. And
yeah, we're about 23 minutes on the head coaching.
For real? Okay, well, let's wrap it up. So, Lincoln Riley, we think it's going to be Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you fall back...
I'd say it's 90%, 95.
Right. To finish it up, Lincoln Riley is a huge chance. If not, take a deep breath. Mark Stoops will be okay. He'll do just fine here at LSU. Look, guys, man, it's been really fun doing it in person for the first time. I've really, enjoyed this. I enjoy it, of course, how we normally do it. But this is fun being right here together and whatnot. So it's a blast. Hey, happy Thanksgiving. We really appreciate it. We're thankful for all of you who continue to support us, continue to listen to podcasts. Hey, if you don't mind, share it on your social media. Create some more buzz around this podcast. We'd love for more fans, more people to come and listen to us, and we really enjoy it, and we really appreciate it. Hey, that's it for episode number 6, In the Tigers Avenue. We'll catch you later. Peace.
And the LSU Tigers, LSU Tigers.